Well, let's get started. So we got some good price cycles here that are some big moves in the market, right? We got a 30 up, 30 down. So I want to be cognizant of those big moves. So the first thing that I do is I reduce my position size when I see something like that because, yeah, it came down, touched the bottom right here, and I got to bring my drawing tools over here. So it's come down. Obviously, it's given this 100% retracement on this move right here. So now the question is it going to move higher or is it going to continue this downward trajectory, right? And we don't know the answer to that. We can speculate, we can guess. And so right in here, I would say is a light zone because it could jump up, could test this. If it breaks that, could test that. And then you could be into a ride the wave situation. It could come up here and break and go down. So I think this is a good place to kind of jump into some sells. And let me explain the reason why. So I'm probably going to put a full layer stack of sells on. So if it comes down, this is a risk versus reward trade. If it comes down, breaks this, it could run for a little bit. But if it doesn't, if it comes down, decides that, you know what, I'm going to bounce, you could get out for another recycle. But if it comes up and it breaks this and it decides to run this way, the chances of fixing this layer stack is better than getting into buys right here, and it does break down and it doesn't ever come back. So it's a risk versus reward trade. I wouldn't jump in so heavy that you can't absorb it if it does run on you, break to the top side. So that's one of the reasons why, take that trade, look for the action point here. I'll probably let it stall a little longer than if it does decide to do that, just because the action of the candles right now are really slow. So as it comes down to here, I may let it stall to see if it'll break before I take a recycle opportunity.
Yeah, Dave. Do you see a right of way situation also potential on the downside?
Sure. I think it's got to go past this right here, and then it could, do that. What is that? I mean, that's 10 pips, so for sure, right? But there's a bounce point here, bounce point where it's at. You still got this long-term channel that has been kind of staying in between. That has been kind of forming. You kind of look at that. So it could come down. Could come down into this area right there. And if it breaks, it could come down into that area without breaking structure. And if it goes lower than this, then it'll break the structure. And so you could see it run down to here. I don't think it'll run anymore, but we got news event coming in at the top of the hour. So that could change. News events can be structure changes, right? If it comes in, changes structure, all that kind of stuff. Isn't it interesting? I think on the non-farm, I think this was non-farm, and it just dropped, and then you get that 100% retracement off of that. Did anybody play the 100% retracement on Friday? I know I played a little bit of it. I played like the 50%, and then I was done trading because I was like, I got my money. I'm done. Just curious if anybody stayed in and played the complete 100%.
I did. I got almost 1,400 pips and 5.5%.
That's awesome. Good job, Debbie. Were you with us Friday morning?
I was. We were talking about books, and I actually went out and made a list that I'll post at some point in time.
Oh, awesome. I know I didn't know if that was Friday, wasn't it? Man, my days are so. So you did you ride both on Non Farm? Just curious. Did you?
I rode both directions on Non Farm, but then I caught the big piece on the back. My big game was on the downside.
On the down or the retracement?
On the retracement.
Yeah. And I caught last night. I just popped in. It was awesome. So I made this 4% and like off of one move, and it was right when I barely got in. So it was like, I'm done. But it was this little spike right here, I think. Maybe not. Where is it? It was really moving like really slow. So usually when it goes slow, I get in heavy. I didn't say heavy, but I get in like 2 to 3 layers instead of just one layer. And then it just kind of popped up after it was like moving like, less than a pip. And then it popped up like 15. It gave me like a 20 pip candle in like one move. I'm gonna say it was right here. But I don't know. I think it was right here. Just a little pop up. That's always nice. You just get a pop up out of nowhere and it's in your direction. All right. So I'm going to play. This was what I'm playing right now. It's just seeing if it'll break down. It kind of went up, tested once. This is kind of coming in right here. Let's see if we don't get this break right there. I'd also be pretty cognizant of news at the top of the hour too. So I wouldn't want to, I just don't, to me, it is it's ISM today. And with ISM,
well, the final PMI is at 9:45, and then ISM and factory orders at 10.
let's see the 10 o'clock one. It's funny. Some news, I don't see that 10 o'clock one. I see 9:30, but that's nothing. What place do you look at for your news? I know that there's sometimes some
Forex Factory.
Yeah, I'm at FX Street. Let's take a look at that Forex Factory. See if they display differently. Okay, so that happened, came down, touched, didn't break, which is fine, but missed a recycle opportunity. So I'm just holding on to that. So we'll probably build into another layer here. And if it comes down, I'll peel off this recycle. Yeah, it's super weird because, yeah, you're right. On the Forex Factory, it displays, but I'll see it on FX Street. All right. How's your guys' weekends? Were you guys excited to get back to trading?
Yes, I am. I missed Friday.
Yes, you did. That was good.
There was
Friday
some
was
book
good.
you posted. You said there was.
What's that?
Did she said she posted some books? Title of books?
She said she was compiling some. And she
Oh.
was going to.
Yeah, I pulled them, but I'll post them.
Okay, thank you.
Josh is still sick. That's not fun. Being sick's not fun. Jared got out of the cold for a weekend down to Arizona. Unless Sedona is still, I don't think so. I think Sedona's warm. I've never been there, but there's places in Arizona that still get cold. Do. Jeez, that's not fun. Helicopter Ed had to suffer from fences being busted from high winds. Yeah, we had that a couple weeks ago. Not fences, but the first snowfall of the year came really quick, and leaves hadn't fallen off the trees, so it made it really heavy. So everywhere in our neighborhood or in my house, like branches were breaking, trees were falling down because of the heavy weight of the snow on the branches. And so it was like everywhere. We had tree limbs everywhere. So our whole neighborhood had chainsaws out and everything like a couple weekends ago. Mid 50s. Gotta like that. I like that. A little bit of a jacket weather, but you get out and it's awesome. And this is what happens when the market moves really slowly. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Remy, you guys haven't had snow in Canada yet this season. That's kind of odd. It's really odd. We did get a late winter, like all of October was still in the 70s here, 60s, 70s. Usually it's a lot colder. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I didn't mean to say like Canada. Yeah, but anything in Canada is usually like colder. So Ottawa. All right, do something. Jeremy, you're from Alaska. I didn't know that. It's kind of cool. I bet you guys get snow in like September, right? So the year's winter starts. All right, last ditch effort. If it does not break here, I'm going to pull off. I'll recycle my trades, but again, should, but I want to. I mean, missed some recycling opportunities in here. That's right.
Dave, question for you.
Hey,
So as it's coming down right now and testing that support, and there's like at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential support on that line. Because you said that sometimes when it hits the third test, it may have a chance to break through. But if it tested so many times, that means it's stronger that'll go through, or it may bounce back and may not go through. What have you found?
definitely the more times it tests, the more likely it's going to break. And if you look at this test right here, that was a really bad line. Right here was a test, right? And then it dropped lower to this red line. And so when I talk about testing, it's always with the body, right? Not a wick. So, so if you look on this line right here, it came down, formulated it. This was a test here, and then it broke through here, but it didn't come down. It came down here, hit that, and then here's where it finally broke. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that's where I get a little caught up, because I thought maybe
that's why I drew this red line right here so you could identify the testing area. So this isn't a test of this. This is not a test of that. Does that make sense?
Okay.
It has to actually come down and touch it. So we got this little bit of a break. So now we got that break. Where's it going to go now, right? That's the next question. And you got the next move for a bounce is right here, right where it's at. And then you got this, and this is where if it does come down and break that, that's what I was saying to Robin, that it could turn into a ride the wave situation. So this was a high probability trade that I missed. But it happens all the time where you get that break and you get a little bit of a run to the top of that, right? So there's a 2 pip. This is coming back to test this. So I think I'm going to just peel these guys off right here. And then as it comes up, test this. If it decides to break this, it could come up and test the top, but if it fails this test, then it's going to move lower again. And so right now is a good place to put another layer in. And so basically I take my profits off and I'm doing a little bit of a recycle, but I'm putting it right here. Because this is the new resistance. So we get that continuation down.
And where, I guess that's sometimes I get caught up in my own too much thinking, but because clearly the upside trend is pretty strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
You look over at the 5-minute chart, you got that channel, right, that I drew earlier on the 5. So were you here? I'm not sure if you were here when I gave that analysis of this channel right here.
No, I came in just a few minutes later.
So this channel, you see this channel, like if you were, in fact, I'll just do it again. Make it easier this way. Clear my charts. All right. So if you kind of look at this 5-minute channel, right, you still, if you were going to just draw this channel, right, the top points and the bottom points right here, these are like breakouts of the channel, and then it came right back in, right? Breakout, come back in, breakout, come back in. So what I'm looking for is the market's kind of free to move inside of this channel, because that's what it's been doing, going up, touching the top, coming down, touching the bottom, going up, touching the top, and it's been climbing up. And so I would still think that it's going to do that, other than the fact that we have a news event coming in at the top of the hour. So a news event can change trajectories of markets, right? And it can change this. So you just got to be cognizant of that. However, for this move right here, it could come down all the way down to here and still be within this cycle, right? And so for you to say, well, it's been moving up, so I'm only going to go into buys is not the right thought process. Does that make sense? Because yes, it has been moving up overall, but you got a lot of up and down movement on the way up. Does that make sense?
It is. It makes sense, right? But it's like, it makes sense, but yet, and that's what I'm like struggling with, because I think sometimes I rely so much on the trend that it'll go against me, and then I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with trading the trend. It's just you got to be in the right place, because it could come down another 16 to 20 pips, right? And still be within the overall channel and the trend, and then go back up. And if it does that and you're heavy and you can't withstand a 20 pip run,
Sure.
do you know what I mean? And that's why the first thing today was I reduced my position size and was trading light, because I saw this and I saw that run, and I don't want to be caught in any of that kind of stuff. I just don't want to be caught on a run down and run up and then, right? And so, and I decided it was sitting right here when we first started this morning. So my analysis was, if it breaks this, and I got into some cells here, and then I got into another layer here, and I'm like, even if it pops up on me, it's going to be easier to fix these cells than if I got into buys right here and it pops down, right? And so I'm like, okay, after all my assessment, is it going to go up or down? I don't really know. Then what's easier to fix? Is a buy easier to fix than a sell? Then, and I still got into it light. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And I don't know if it's going to go back the other way. Like, this is my action point. It has to cross this for it to decide that it's going to probably run up, touch the top, break that. It could run into this range. But if it fails, it definitely could come down and test the bottom here. And if it breaks that, it could be into a ride the wave, right? And so there's all these different scenarios that you don't know what it's going to do. But if you could get ahead of it, like, you know, the game of chess, think 2 or 3 moves ahead of the market and have a plan for what the market could do, what the market's doing, and what it's most likely to do, and then execute on those plans. And if you don't have a solid idea, then light is your key. Trade light. So if it goes against you, you can fix it. Does that make sense?
Got it. Sorry, dude. I gotta go take my daughter to school again.
You're fine.
Get me back. Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
We're seeing wicks at the top. Most of the wicks are on the top. So that means you're having selling pressure there.
Yes. But which are the bigger wicks? You do have a lot on the top, but you also have some pretty big ones coming in on the bottom.
2 big ones at the bottom, yeah.
So when I have conflicting wicks, I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know if I trust data. So I'm more likely to just say, this is my action point right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's just not enough meat on the bone. There is now, but there wasn't enough meat on the bone to like wobble through this consolidation. Just one up, one down. It's a really, really small consolidation. If I was going to wobble it, I'd like it to be more like 4 or 5 up and down. Duke, awesome. 335 pips. Awesome. Just looking back at your comments. Did that scalping the USD JPY. Just see that has enough to carry it through that break right there. Quiet day today. Anybody have any questions? Fire them. I love questions. I love to talk and analyze the market or nothing else. Just kind of just quiet day. Do.
I started back testing
Good.
the first breakout.
I've seen a few of you guys do that over the weekend. That's so awesome. Like in the challenges that you guys have been posting. That's so awesome that I really, really think it will help you guys to get confidence to start identifying trade setups, right?
Yeah.
And don't rely on somebody else's work to do it, even though you could have the same math. The idea is do the work, right? Do the work so that you know how to look for it. Don't be cheating, looking off somebody else's test.
I did about 30 of them and a high percentage. After 2 candles, it comes back to test the breakout.
Man, this is just a slow moving market. So do.
So I have a question. How do you know when to be patient to hold out versus, too impatient and get out
Just
to
start pilling?
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with how the market is moving, right? And so if it's a slow moving market like today, then I'm okay to sit and wait on bigger moves, right? Because typically on a slow moving market, it's going to go away from you slowly or go in your favor slowly. And if it gets away from you, you can fix them. But if it's running like, this type of market somewhere up in here, and it's going like, moving pretty quickly, like 10 pips in 3 minutes, or 6 pips, three minutes, then you can start boom, 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 quick firing, taking them on, taking them off, right? And so if this holds right there, which I think it's going to, still sell in, but now that changes a lot of things right here. Meaning, I'm probably going to throw away this layer. If it comes back down and tests this, I'll probably just get out right here on a break even. situation. But that's kind of my general thing is like the sit and hold just depends on how fast the market's moving. Also, this morning or in the morning, not just this morning, but in the morning, news events. If you're up against some news events, I'll get out. I'll play quick hits. If you're trying to fix trades, if you're trying to fix a trade, I'll get out quicker just to fix it. Or if I'm in heavy, I'll get out quicker to lighten my position size. So a lot of variables play into the decision of sitting and holding versus just getting 2 to 3 pips in and out, in and out. I don't know if that really answers your question. There's not just one trigger point that I'm looking at, right?
So like I was trading last night, scalping, and it was going really slow. And at one point it played out and actually had like 50 profit when it was going down. Mm-hmm. And then it suddenly went against me fast. It got back to break even. And I was like, oh, it's still going down. Let me hold out. And it turned into a runner against me. And I turned into a 200 pips loss.
Ooh.
So that's where it was like, oh man, I should have gotten out when it was like, 5 pips profit or 20, something like that. It was too quick.
Yeah, and it moved on you really quick against you, right?
Yeah.
After you were in a market that was moving slowly.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, that's what I hate about the night and evening trade.
When was it?
Last night, right? And that was the euro.
Yeah, this is last night. So
USD JPY. Is that what it was?
I was trading USD JPY, and then this was around between 10 p.m. and midnight. So I ended up trading extra 2 hours because I was trying to fix my trade, and it went against me bad.
So, I mean, without jumping over that chart and doing an analysis of it, did you, on the rundown against you, did it go past action points that you could have gotten out, right?
Well, I did an analysis that I thought it was going to break because it first popped up and then was retracing all the way down. Instead, it went back up again. So I think my initial analysis was incorrect there. And that's kind of why I was like putting the targets for the breakout, and it didn't happen. And it did the runner up, and instead of going buys, I was still on the sells. I didn't flip. If I had gone buys, I would have recovered. So,
okay. So kind of what Pops was talking about earlier this morning, how it went against him and he put buys on. Have you done that before where you're still holding on to your sells because you think your analysis is correct, but you're enjoying the run against you by hedging a little bit? Because I'll do that too sometimes if I'm into a situation, like case in point, if I were to buy this bounce right here, I'm just saying where I buy the bounce and then all of a sudden it breaks, runs against me, gives me just a little bit of pullback, I may get into a sell, ride that down to here, whatever. I'm just using, and then if it comes back, then I get out of my buys, but you make money on the sells and you make money on the buys or you don't make money, but you fix them or you know what I mean?
I've tried hedging it before. It's just I haven't properly managed the trades, and I'm too heavy, and so I'm not able to recover.
It's difficult to hedge when hedging really comes into psychology, a lot of psychology, because our initial, and I'm just saying, let's just say your initial analysis is that this is a bounce point and to buy. And I know that, and you're thinking everything says to buy right here, right? Because you think, okay, the trend is up, it's going to cross the trend here. I'm not saying, I'm using this as an example. So, but let's say your analysis is to buy, and so you start buying, and then you get heavy on the bounce. And let's say you're 50%, into your position size, and now you're really biased for your buys. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want these buys to work in your favor, and then all of a sudden it breaks down against you, and it's really, really difficult to put a sell on, because that means from a psychological point that you're saying I'm wrong. And you're like, if I'm going to put a sell on, why am I still holding on to buys? Why don't I just get out of my buys and get into sells? And so it becomes really a psychological event that you have to battle with, because if you put any sells on and start stacking into sells, you're telling yourself that your initial assessment is wrong. And that's really difficult to tell yourself that it was wrong. And then what happens is sometimes it comes down, you could have gotten to sells, you don't, and then it comes back all the way back up and runs. And then you tell yourself, well, yep, my assessment was correct. Right. And so this never happens. You don't get sells on. But when you flip it and you say, you know what, my initial assessment, when you start saying I'm often right on where the market's going, I'm just wrong on how it gets there. And that's what you should be looking at. And like, hey, eventually that analysis could work out, but I'm going to make some money while it's still trying to get in that direction. And so I'll do that a lot, where I don't really count it as a hedge trade, where if I'm in a buy layer here and it breaks below and I start getting into sells, I'm only looking for this just to make money. And I'll still hold on to these if I still feel like my analysis is still at play. And I do that a lot, because this is where I fix these buys. And then if it comes down to here, bounces up, I made money here, and I just need that one price cycle, and I could get out of my buys right here with the money that I made. And then if it decides to come back down, I could buy back in and then capitalize on that initial move. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I actually did that this morning. Could I share screen? And
yeah, absolutely. Let's see that. I have to stop sharing, I think.
Okay.
I'll stop sharing.
I'll share USD yen. Can you see my screen? So right here, I saw that it was close to this line right here, previous, support resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, okay, this pattern right here looks like it's starting to fall. So I entered in some sells. So this is where I reversed. I was buying all morning, and like up here I was buying.
Sure.
But here I started selling. And I actually took some losses with buys and sells right here.
Mm-hmm.
But it continued against me. And I took a loss right here, like 60. And so I went heavy on hedging. So I went buys here, and then it went pull back. And I was like, I could have gotten out at break even. So both of the buys right here and for the sells. But then I tried to add in more buys, and then I got that pop. That's what I was saying. Hey, my initial analysis was still correct.
Sure.
And I still got the profit right here. And right here it popped up. I hedged buys very quick though, like right here target, and now it's falling. So here is where I would think this is the last of it, and I would start selling. But that's where when I hedge buys here, it actually went against me, but I held out because on a 5-minute, this was a continuation pattern.
Sure, no, I can see that.
But that's where it was like, man, I was very risky and aggressive this morning, and just trying to avoid such scenarios.
So, do you feel the biggest question is, do you feel like you played that as well as you could, or is there something that you could have done differently to play it better, or in your assessment?
Well, this is where I see the difference with what Sean does, because it went against me. He would be putting on sells right here. So if he had put on sells right here, he would have gotten good 50, 100 pips profit right here.
Mm-hmm.
And on a 5 minute, this was still up. So I could have put the sells right here and put the buys right here and got this pop up right here. I would have been probably around 500 now.
So maybe, I think maybe instead of, sometimes like I'm saying, it's psychologically difficult to have buys and sells on at the same time because that tells, if we do that, sometimes we're admitting that we're wrong, right? But I think if we take that and instead of saying I was wrong on that assessment, and we start saying there's opportunity and I'm hunting for opportunity no matter where it's at. Does that make sense?
Right.
And I think that's change our rewire the way that we look at the market, as opposed to I have to be right, be more of a hunter, and I'll take pips wherever they're at. Does that make sense? Wherever I can find opportunity to gobble up some profit, I'm a profit hunter, right? And I don't care where it is. I'll
and like right now, you can see the prices just popped up on USD yen. On a 5 minute pattern, it's still a stair step up. But I was thinking right here, it could be the last of it. And I missed out on my opportunity right here. But my initial analysis is that it's going to test this pivot. So I should have right here put some buys on light, and I could have gotten extra pivots or extra pips. I mean,
sure.
You know, but that's where it's like sometimes as I'm watching the market, I second guess myself.
Well, then I think your next challenge for you is kind of what we did Thursday. Instead of second guessing yourself, go light enough that you could take opportunities on anywhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you're light enough, then you can capitalize on all the opportunities. Do you know what I mean? And so if you reduce your position size, in fact, that would probably be a good challenge for today for everybody. Reduce the position size, cut it in half of what you normally trade, and take opportunities wherever you find them, right? And so, in fact, that's probably what we'll do for our challenge today, but we'll wait until after the news to do that.
Dave, I'm going to have to go away for an hour in a little while, and I just posted, and I wanted to I don't normally post, so I wanted to make certain that it actually showed up.
I did. Absolutely. I was going to say thank you. I see that you posted in the right spot, so I appreciate that.
Okay.
Did you add links?
The only link that I added is I buy my books from a place called Deal-Oz, and I normally get them like a first run mystery. I'll pay $4.50 shipping included, but you can go out and you can look for the best price used and pick up books. 99% of the time, the books have never been opened. Nice. So I buy all my books that way. So I posted that, but I posted the names and I posted the price on Deal-Oz for people so they can go look at it. That's the cheapest way I've found to buy books.
Nice. I'm going to take a look at that. So this is like case in point. I just reduced it, went really heavy, but now it broke down. So now I can flip and get into some sells right here. And I can just go for opportunity on the sell side. And then if it comes back into my buys, I can get out. So I'm kind of showing you guys a little bit of what, it's a different type of technique. And I like this technique because you can utilize it in almost any market condition, right? And so you're hunting for profit, little tiny bit of profit. And I usually use this technique when I'm trying to fix trades, not necessarily fix trades, but if I'm losing and I'm trying to chip away at my losses, So not the fixed trades, but I use this technique more often to try to get into some quick wins to take little bites out of my losses. So if I'm down like 1.5%, I may flip into this technique to get me below that 1%. And then I'm back to normal trading. And so it's a technique where I'm just hunting for profit. I'm hunting for quick little profit hits. I can get in a little bit heavier. I shouldn't say heavier. I can get into more positions because I'm reduced my position size. So not that I'm getting in heavier, I'm just taking more trades. And then I'm just taking little tiny bites, little tiny sips, like Sean says, out of the market. And I'll use this technique a lot when I'm just trying to chip away at a loss that I found myself in. And you can also use this technique when you're like, I don't know what the market's going to do. And if you get some good consolidation, then great. Then you can play both sides of the market. The only thing, Alvio, if you play both sides of the market, you want to enable your close order box so that you can peel off one direction or the other. Michael says, what's with the high spread? You probably were looking at Duke's, your USD JPY tends to probably have a larger spread, but I don't think the Euro USD is high. I don't think that's a high spread. Yeah, I mean, yeah, usually you're right. Usually spreads are a little down, 3-5, but I mean, it could be because we're news events coming in, right? Could definitely be slowness in the market for sure. Yeah, this is not a typical Monday morning speed. Yeah, then there's some wicks forming and I probably push lower here. So if that happens, then I'm going to just jump out on my buys. If I just do a little bit of a pop up, hit those buys. I'm beginning to a few more sells here. Get ready to close out my buys. Let's do that. How's everybody doing today? Check in on, it's been a slow moving market for sure. So hopefully nobody's in too big of a hurt and you probably haven't been able to gobble up a whole ton of profits either today.
Yeah, it's been really slow. I'm at 0.5% and 145 pips.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at too from where I started this morning. Just a little less than 0.5%, but started to right around 4 this morning. I'm probably going to recycle these guys. And probably.
So are you going flat pre-news?
I usually do. But You could do the, I don't know. I mean, so what I'm feeling, this is just more just a feeling than analysis or anything. This is my intuitive nature, that it's been going really, really slow all morning long, that I think we're going to get a bigger pop. Now, I don't mean like we're going to get 30 or 50 pip pop, but anything that's going to pop on the news today, we could get, you see right here, you see right here where we're just getting these little tiny like 1 or 2 pips.
Yeah.
A pop could be a 10 pip move, right? It could be a 10 pip move. I think it's going to be greater. I think we're going to get anywhere between 15 to 20. And if you're on the wrong side of a 15 to 20 pip move today, I think it's going to be very difficult after the news goes away to kind of recover that if it comes back into this type of a market. And so I don't want to be like into sells. It pops up above this. It pops above this and then never comes back down. Does that make sense? It decides to stay up here and to trade. And so that's kind of why today, more important, today I'd rather be flat. If there was some good volatility, I might take the chance of being like, okay, it's probably going to move in the direction of trend or fade things or whatever, right? And so we're 4 minutes away. It's kind of at the bottom of this test right here. I'm not playing a breakout of this, even though I would have probably 20 minutes ago, probably stacking into sells for a break lower. But I would rather sit on my hands at this moment in time than put any trades on. But I'd rather be in the mind frame of I want to capitalize on the news event versus I want to worry about fixing my trades on the news event, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Thanks.
Good job, Mike. Bill, been there, so I feel for you. It's kind of sucks when I mean, I think everybody's been there where they do really bad and a live account flip to a demo and kill it. It's like, what? I think that I don't know. That's the one thing that I think I hear a lot of people trade better in demos than they do in live. And it's psychology. And I'm just trying to figure out how to fix it or how to help you guys fix that psychology. And I haven't really come up with a good way to overcome that other than just practice how you play, right? And so if you're doing things in a demo account that you don't do in a live account, why? If you ever tell yourself, well, I'm okay to do this because it's just a demo, why? Right? But I'm speaking out both sides of my mouth because demos are there for the purpose of demos. And so whenever I jump into a demo, it's because I'm practicing a strategy that I'm not comfortable with, a technique that I'm not comfortable with, or I'm just practicing something that that I'm trying to get better at, right? And I'm not necessarily trading a demo account for the purpose of just trading. I'm specifically practicing like 1 or 2 things in a demo account. And that's what I use demo accounts for, right?
There are 2 books that I posted that deal directly with that one.
Okay. That would be awesome.
The first one is The Art of Thinking Clearly, and it goes through kind of the pitfalls that traders experience and a way to do that. And the second one is called Sway, the Irresistible Pull of Irrational Behavior. And it goes through and talks about why we do things that we know are irrational. You know, when I was blowing up my account routinely, I would go, I knew I was supposed to be doing X and I didn't do it. So those two books, and you can buy them both for kind of $5-ish. Those two books, the news, by the way, came out.
Yep.
It hasn't posted to be what it is, but those two books I think are easy reads. They're not academic necessarily. So those two books might be helpful to some people.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm going to have to take a look at those because I would love to learn how to teach, how to help everybody get through that for sure.
And I think those would help you do that.
Jeremy asked, what was the second book that you just said?
The second book is called Sway, the Irresistible Pull of Irrational Behavior. It's by Rothman and Rothman. And it talks about why we put ourselves in negative scenarios and stay committed to them. You know, why do we do things we know are wrong and still keep doing it? So I like that one. It's not specific to trading per se, but he does apply it to trading off and on. It's specific to kind of all of what you do in life. Okay, I know I'm not supposed to be doing this, but I'm doing it anyway. So
well, it's in Discord and Trade Talk. He asked where you posted that.
I didn't know where you wanted it posted, but that's the only place I've ever posted. So
yeah, no, that's good. I think sometimes Trade Talk has the ability to lose it because of everybody's posting. So I might just peel that up and put that into trading tools. All right, so we got this breakdown. Still thinking we might get a 50% retracement off of this. This is a big, like I said, it popped, gave us a big move. It did actually go to 40. I didn't think it was thought it was gonna stick around the 20s. So it gave us a double move off of that. I tried to get out of this layer, and for some reason I hit the X like 3 times up here, and Alveo didn't execute, and I kept smacking that, and then I stopped when it came down. I don't know why, because it's never really done that before. But I mean, trading really light here.
The PMI, it's actually just a survey on productivity with managers, and it came in about 6% higher than expected.
Mm.
So that got everybody all excited for the dollar, I guess. It's pretty straightforward. It's just like a survey of managers saying, like, how's business?
Sure.
They say it's good. 6% better than we thought.
And then they're like, oh, well, we like the dollar again.
Dollar. Dollar.
Until in about 5 more minutes when they're like, we don't really like the dollar anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people take both sides of it, obviously. The dollar's always liquid. It's green money. It's good.
This is what I like about trading small and trading light on a news event too, is because you can stack into you can hit that turn correctly with some of your trades, right? Like if it pops above this right here, it could turn, it could go back into like starting to play the fib. If it doesn't, it could open up the door for it to run a little higher, right? So this is kind of a big action point on this news event right here. So
before I forget to ask, when you do back testing, where do you usually do it or get your data?
I like TradeView. TradeView is pretty good, just because it can give you that. It gives you a historical view, but if you don't have it, then MT4 is pretty good, and then Alveo, you can only go back 1,000 bars.
Yeah.
But I like going back as far as I can on the 1 minute chart because I tend to look for the high probability setups on the 1 minute. So you kind of need a different platform to continually go back on the one unit, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Does Alveo, that'd be tricky because it can only go back so far.
You can only go back so far, yeah.
MT4, you can do it, but it's a little bit fussy.
Mm-hmm.
You say, what was the other one? Trade View?
Yeah, Trading View. Trading View, yeah. Will allow you to actually replay it too. So you can replay the past data so we can trade it or look at it as if it's live.
Yeah.
So you don't have the disadvantage or advantage, whatever, of hindsight, right? You can't really see, oh, well, yeah, I was right. So
got it.
But MT4 is good to do that.
Yeah, I could download MT4 again. That would work.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I know I've done that before. You have to download the data secondarily. It's fussy. It works. Because what I'm trying to do actually is I watched your Friday afternoon or Friday evening session.
Or Thursday.
The
Wobble Crew session. Yeah.
I'm not feeling well today. My head's a little foggy. Thursday evening, yeah, you're talking about back testing. So I'm gonna take a look and see for things like for the PMI report. In the past, if it was 6% higher than expected, then what did it do?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Look back and grab, because we were talking about this, grab some historical data and say like, okay, look back for each one. What was the outcome? Better, worse, how much, what percent, and then what did it do?
But the other thing you're missing is another variable that I like to add is what's the trending market when it did pop, right? Did that have any bearing on it? Like what we were just talking about earlier today, because it was coming down, and it was right at that point. Did that have any bearing as to how far it went, right? Not the direction of, but maybe how far it went, because it broke down to a ride the wave situation. Because
other things too. Like, was there initial drive? Was there a pullback? Was there a follow through drive? Did it go beyond the initial spike? Blah 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 blah. Like little tidbits like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's never going to be 100%, right? And I just got out of that because I think it could come down and test that. And so it was close enough to break even. But
go ahead.
No, it's just like you gather all this data up. I think Khalid posted in challenges, or somebody did, and I can't remember, but how the probability of whatever they were looking at was at a 60, 70, and then I think there was an 80 or in fact 90% probability if these conditions occur. And it's not necessarily, I'm not really posting, I want you guys to look at that, but even if Khalid or Joseph pushes that out there, you still need to do the work, right? And that's the key. Is like, if you do the work, you'll learn how to find them yourself instead of relying on other people. And if you do the work and you back test it and you figure it out, and your analysis is exactly the same, then you have something, right? You have something that you can rely on. You have something that gives you confidence that when you see this materialize, well, I'm confident that 60 to 80% of the time it's going to go in my favor, so I should take it. And then also allow yourself that, hey, this is the 20 or 30% of the time that it didn't work out, so I better get out, right? So, but I think it helps build confidence in us as traders when we can start to see those moves. So that's why it's important that everybody does it themselves and not just rely on 2 or 3 people to do it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in today's live session. It was a great session. We have a little bit of news coming in. I did a full recap on today's session if you want to take a look at it here. Also, we're going to go ahead and move into our challenge portion. So if you want to watch that, I'm going to push that right now on the end screen. So again, thank you guys for participating. Those of you guys who still have yet to join us, join the Discord channel. And we trade live every single morning. So hopefully we'll see you there. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Thanks. Bye.